A very good Monday afternoon to you, and welcome to the Fixed Wing Guy channel with me, Stuart Lomas. I hope I find you well today. The feet on the ground weather forecast here in Manchester today. Horrible morning, dreadful Manchester morning, grey skies, wind, rain, everything you could possibly think of. That's the worst thing in the world. But this afternoon, glorious, sunny, blue skies, fluffy clouds, no wind. Like two separate days in one day. So that's the beauty of living in a country with weather rather than a climate. A short one, this, solely on the basis that it's not really going to be of interest to quite a lot of you guys out there, because it's something that's solely based here in the UK. And I'll try not to bore you too much, but I just wanted to put my ideas out there. It's regarding the election of the gentleman called Jeremy Corbyn as leader of the Labour Party. Now, if you are kind of not aware, Jeremy Corbyn comes from the extreme left of the Labour Party, so he is I suppose, the archetypal Labour man who harks back to the days when the Labour Party was established to bring welfare and a good quality of living to any and all people who lived in the United Kingdom, no matter what their social standing. And what basically has happened, I believe, is that for so long here in the UK, no matter which of the main three parties you supported, whether it be the Conservatives, here obviously known here in Britain as the Tories, the Liberal Democrats, or the Labour Party, there was so little difference between them. So much so that in the last government, prior to the general election, the Conservatives, the Tories, and the Liberal Democrats were working together in a coalition, which in theory should never have happened, because their policies should have been relatively widely apart, and they should have been unable to find little common ground. So what has happened now? We now have the Tories unchanged, but they have a full mandate and a majority in the House of Commons. The Social Democrats, or Liberal Democrats, sorry, lost so many seats because they had little credibility due to their ex-leader Nick Clegg reneging on certain policy promises at the last general election. And Labour, under a gentleman called Ed Miliband, who had very little political experience from what we could see, and wasn't statesman material, in my opinion, who I always thought was a liability to the Labour Party. He resigned after the second defeat under his leadership, and Jeremy Corbyn was put in place. Now, my opinion of this is, as I already said, this is we have reverted to type as far as the Labour Party is concerned, where in theory they should push for many things that were in place for many years here in the UK, and certain things will be, in their eyes, renationalised to become public ownership yet again. Certain things like the railways, but we have learned today that will not be a across-the-board repurchase by the nation. It will be done on a line-by-line basis, and the first one being the East Coast Main Line. I don't have a particular political affiliation, as you're aware. I don't vote. But what I want to say here is that I think that at this point in time, because for so long there has been so little perceivable difference in the three main parties, that any change, no matter what that change was, is going to be a positive change for Labour, to give them any form of chance in any future election. Now, what I mean by that is, If the status quo stayed as it was, as there was apparently so little choice between the top three parties, people were going elsewhere to the Green Party and other independents, therefore potentially wasting the vote if indeed they chose to vote in an election. What is happening now with Mr. Corbyn in place is that there is going to be an obvious difference between the right of centre Conservative Party, the general centre line Lib Dems, and Labour, who has now gone back to being left of centre and potentially extremely left of centre in this political circus that we call a democracy in this country. So where I am is I actually view his election as quite a positive thing, because it is bringing a clear line of definition back to the face of politics in Britain, and it may well be the case that if he can bring together a cabinet made up of lots of different Labour political beliefs, so some that are maybe from the Tony Blair era, some perhaps that are from the Michael Foot era, many years ago perhaps, and of course the new incomers who are strong believers in the ethos that Mr. Corbyn has, that quite a lot of the big problems that we have in Britain can be solved by public ownership. I remember the days of the chaos where the railways were publicly owned and called British Rail. And there were a lot of problems, but during those days, of course, they had quite a lot of union issues, which hopefully he will address. But that doesn't seem to have solved the problems on the railways, because now we have an organisation called Network Rail, who are a private company, a profit-making company, who are, for some incredible reason, subsidised by we, the tax-paying people of the United Kingdom. Now, there are not many profit-making companies out there who are subsidised from taxation, and I don't really understand that, and because I don't vote, I don't really care. So, where do I stand? Well, I kind of stand in a position of hope that this new definition to the public and political landscape can result in more choice, more policies being put out there that can be obviously viewed as being beneficial to the public, that are being beneficial potentially to the working man, that will be beneficial to even the self-employed man, that maybe the sole trader or the small employer, that minimum wage can be put to a level that will be acceptable to everyone, and that will allow people, hard-working people, to have a decent standard of life. There's a lot of controversy in this country right now. And as I read Twitter on a fairly regular occasion, there are people out there today talking about a gentleman who has committed suicide after he was ruled by the Department of Work and Pensions as fit to work when he had countless medical and physical problems. He committed suicide because they literally took any and all benefits that he had away from him. And I hope a little bit more social justice will be put in place through Mr. Corbyn's view of the world. There are many people out there who believe here in Britain that people get benefits far too easily, and that the people who are on benefits have a hell of a life on them. You will see on Channel 5 here in Britain many programs about people on benefits who are, how can I say, stupid. They count it as free money. They go and blow it in the pub, or having pizza, or buying massive packages on satellite television. And obviously the television producers will only make programs from the very worst examples of this type of person, because if you did them about sensible benefit recipients, of which I am one, it wouldn't make good television. What people do need to realise, and if you're watching this abroad, certainly perhaps in America, where you think that Britain hands out money left, right and centre, let me give you a little insight into a benefit that I myself receive, which is called Disability Living Allowance, which is about making my life that little bit easier. I have held that benefit now for 5 years. I was awarded it for a year after filling in a 16-page application form, 16 pages of A4, both sides needing to be filled in, being sent to my GP for a report to be done, that report and that application form being sent to the Department of War and Pensions, the Department of War and Pensions then sending me to a private consultant, and I have no idea how much that costs them, considering a consultant will probably charge £300, possibly £400 an hour. He then said I deserved the benefit, and I was awarded it for a year. The following year, I, for some reason, miraculously recovered from all my problems, and I lost the benefit completely, and had to survive on £32.80 a week, I think it was at that particular time. It took me 2 years to regain the benefit that I'd lost, and that benefit is now being rehashed into something called PIP, Personal Independence Payment, and although the Disability Living Allowance was awarded to me for an unlimited amount of time, that is now being rescinded, and I will have to reapply and be reassessed all over again. So the people out there who think that the benefits agency just hand benefits out willy-nilly really need to have a look into the system before they make huge assumptions. I am hopeful, therefore, that the new version of Labour, which is in effect the old version of Labour, will bring some form of sense and sense of justice, as it were, to the British people, where it will be a balance between ensuring that those who earn a lot of money pay their fair share, those who work very hard for a living and pay tax are given allowances to help them with their family, and that people who have the worst kind of life get quite a lot of help. So that's kind of where I am. Mr. Corbyn is a new face. He hopefully will brighten things up in the House of Commons, and last week, the PMQs, Prime Minister's Questions, it seemed as though that was his intention, to make life a little bit interesting in the House. So hopefully we shall see some changes in the political landscape within the next 12 months, hopefully. We will see what happens there. So kind of that's my view, really. It's kind of a non-political video. Whether I'll start to vote again, I don't know. Will it refresh my interest in politics? I have no idea. But do I trust politicians? Absolutely not. Most of them are the most corrupt animals on the planet, and would I allow one through my front door? Definitely not. But it is interesting to see that at this point here in Britain, we are now seeing a clear line being drawn in the sand where the different political parties are concerned. So that's it for this one. As I say, I apologise, it won't be of interest to anybody outside the UK, but if you are outside the UK and it is of interest to you, and perhaps you had some perceived ideas of what life was like here in Britain, by all means let me know. Put it in the contact sections down below. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, listening. Any queries, questions, suggestions for this kind of nonsense, feel free to pop it down below there, and I shall speak to you again soon. Bye bye.